All right, good. We're live, boys. Okay, yeah. So last time you saw me working on WordPress on stream, I was working on this. I wanted a way to be able to insert a slider into a page using Gutenberg blocks, because everything is going to move to blocks anyway. And I found it ridiculous that anything, all the popular plugins out there that had sliders, we're still using short codes. That's unacceptable to me. I'm like, no, I just need a way to insert it wherever I want in my document or my page and customize it based on that, right? Should be simple, right? You would think, but it's not. So I had to create this um I had to create this slider from scratch for Gutenberg. And it was a pain because what I did first, I created a slide, which is a block that has these attributes, right? It has the name, the title, add text, which is a boolean, whether you want text on the slide or not, the slide copy, which is the text, the string, the media ID, which is the ID of the media it's going to pull, because eventually I want to expand this to work for videos, maybe audio, and pictures. Media URL, media alt, media position. Now, the URL and the alt are, to be honest, overkill because, and here's why it's overkill. Because with the ID, I should be able to pull all of that from WordPress, right? But this is the MVP, so I'm just adding whatever I feel like I will need right away. In addition to that, I have the media position, which is the defaulted to center, and I'll show you why. And then media size, default cover. I mean, you can already media repeats. You can already insinuate why if you know a lot of CSS. Align copy defaults to center. You can now align it to the left or right, so your text moves to the left or the right of the slide. And then align media default is an empty string. And then the slide index, the default is null. I eventually didn't need the slide index because I could do everything from the parent block, slider. Slider has inner blocks called slides. And slider has its own attributes. So slider attributes are like show image, the slider ID, default to slider one. I'll fix that, don't worry. Show image is a boolean that lets the slider know if you should display the images or just copy. Current defaults to 0. That's where it's going to start from, really. The slide interval defaults to 5 seconds, is in milliseconds, so 5,000. And then slides is an attribute that's supposed to contain all the slides in this slider. I ended up not using that either. Now let's go into the edit function of the slider block. The edit function of the slider block, first of all, has inner blocks in a div that has block props for the slider, right? So I'll just go from top to bottom. I got all these things, and the only things I'm using here are use block props, inspector controls, inner block, and block store. I guess store as block store. Then the panel body, toggle control, experimental number control, use select, and use state. So I pulled in dispatch and use effect, and those weren't effective strategies for me. So I still have to add border controls to the slider, opacity and alpha controls to the slider, backgrounds. So the first thing I do is set the slider ID to the client ID of this block. So it's no more slider 1. So we reset slider 1 to whatever the slider ID is, the client ID is of that block, right? That way we can target them, we can target multiple slides on the same page. Excuse me. Second attribute I set is the slide count. Now, for the slide count, what we have to do is get the number, the block count using that client ID. So what this does, it takes that block, our slider block, finds the block counts within the slider, and that will tell it how many slides are in this slider block. And then that sets our slide count. And then block props, we need data current, which is our current, which is always defaulted to 0. Data interval, which is the time between transitions, and the count, which is the slide count we just set. Then in our inspector controls, what we need, slider settings, which you can see here. This is not a slider, by the way, on the wrong page. If I come here and I go to slides, then we'll see a page that demos our slides. Oh my goodness, the cough is really bad. So now we see a page that demos the slides. And if we edit this page, we'll see what inspector control pulls for us. So we have a panel body with slider settings, toggle control for show images. So show images, that currently does nothing. Number of slides, which is 4, and that's based on the number of slides in this slider. And then slide interval, which is 5 seconds, which is based on the default set in our JSON block.json file. Now this toggle control is for show images here. Number control is for the number of slides, and number control again I used for the slide interval. Now that gives us pretty cool settings, because here we see that every 5 seconds this guy transitions. That's this top slider. Now you're wondering why this is transitioning at a different speed. Is because this second slider block in here has a different, I was gonna say it has a different interval set, but it looks like it's the same interval. Let's see. All right, so oh, they are definitely not moving at the same speed, right? Okay, I guess that's something troubleshoots. Maybe I should add that as a GitHub issue. Slider, we need the front end script, and then find where I use interval, get attribute data interval. So I'm just gonna inspect them, because the data interval for the first one is 8,000, so 8 seconds, and then the second one is 5 seconds. So why is that not registering on here, showing 5,000 instead of 8,000? All right, so if I go to edit.js and I say interval, slide interval, set our data interval, but nowhere is it being updated. Nowhere are we setting that attribute. Why aren't we setting the attribute? And how did this get 8,000? All right, so now I'm debugging the slider I made just because I looked at it. Um, all right, so if there's no slide interval, then it goes to 5 seconds. But if there is, it doesn't. So why is it not propagating back into the editor? So this, let's look at our save function, block props, slide interval, data interval, slide interval. All right, before I make any changes, just make sure everything's up to date there. All right, so we set attributes here in number control, right? So you're saying if I come here, I click on this and I make it 6,000. You're telling me that will update? Is that really what you're telling me? Or are we just going on vibes and inshallah here? Hmm. All right, do you see that? It's 6,000 here. But on this edit page, if I refresh, I hope it doesn't go back to 5,000. Because if it does, that's going to drive me crazy. Because I'm going to be wondering, see, it's back at 5,000. I'm going to be wondering why, when I set this and it sets attributes, it doesn't save. Why doesn't it save? Even though I set attributes, slide count, slide interval, slide interval. Is my block.json different? Slide interval, default, type number. Is it a type issue? I don't think it would work if it wasn't. Maybe I should set data interval. No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good. I just don't know why it's not picking it up in the value. Where are we? It's Friday, Sunday. What? It should be number anyway. Let's see. I just had a thought that is it because number control is experimental? Yeah, then Saturday, Sunday, what? It's Friday, and we want that weekend. It's ridiculous. Was any update? No, that has nothing to do with it. Not really. It should be way faster. Yeah, every 2 seconds, the second one transitions. Cool. And then every 6 seconds, this one transitions. Um, 2 and 6. But if I refresh this page doesn't actually show me the initial states. So when I say Okay, they increased it to 30. They updated, right? And then they're gonna refresh. And it's gonna go back to 20, right? Oh, they even had an error, like a proper error. All right, so let's see. Get no love. Get no love. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna log my attributes under each client ID, just to see what's returned and validate that is different from what is being displayed, because this is 5,000, this is 5,000. Meanwhile, this should be 2,000 and this should be 6,000. So we'll come here and we'll console the log stuff. Oh fuck. Maybe it's happening here. Are you mad? Like, I never set current really. So I'm wondering why I think interval will work. Oh my. Bring me down, down, bring me down. All right, so excuse me. Let's try slide interval instead then. Since that's the name of the attribute anyway. It's setting the render function. So I don't know why it's not setting this. Is it block prop? They're telling me all of this has to be after block props is initialized. That's just madness. Ludicrous. What do you mean? What do you mean? So this original slide interval is the problem. It's picking up the client ID, but it's not picking up the attributes. You have to use select. No, I do not. It knows what current is. It knows what start is. I defined it here. I want to see if I wanted to see if count would change. So if I drop this to 3, it's not updating for some reason. Interesting. Oh, so that's the issue. Because it does all this fancy stuff, but never really updates. On change alignments, new alignments, I have to pass it. I have to pass it to the new value. So ATA is attributes. Which I've destructured from attributes. So on change alignment, on change content is set attributes, alignments, yada 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 yada. So I don't need all that fancy rigmarole. Like all of this. This is not really doing anything. So I just need a set attribute and then a passing new value. Which is alignment to be new alignment or okay. So slide interval, really. And then how is it changing the render but it's not changing this? That's the question. We have those gates. Boom. It needs to be a number though. It's updating render.php because I passed these as block property values into the div, and that's represented on the render.php. So it takes that value in the block property and adds it. Meanwhile, this wasn't working, and I feel like there's a shorthand for this, but I'm not getting it. So it should be slide interval set slide interval or something like that. Anyway, now that we have this working, there's a problem. I'm going to refresh, see if it stays at 5800. If it stays at 5800, the question is it now a string? And will that cause type issues? So this worked, but didn't save. For some reason. This is not a TypeScript file. I mean, I could just copy that pattern and see. You know what? I'm going to go to my slide and see how I did it there. Because I'm trying to learn this. My block controls, align copy, set attributes, align copy. That's it. That's all you need. I'm missing something. Because this changed, but now that I've reloaded it, it's just going to stop changing. Isn't it? And this is from the block props. So I'm even logging the wrong thing. I should just log the attribute. Look. It doesn't save. If it doesn't save, then it's my save function. I have a slide interval here. How do I save my attributes? Oh, it's not running. Do I need... Yep. I probably need this there, right? No, I don't. I always do this. Well, not always. But like, how do I enter into part level? Oh, I don't have attributes here. Interesting. I don't need it. So, yeah, it does nothing for me. I have to go to my block.render and figure out how to get these guys. Let's try and get the attributes from block as opposed to just straight off the attributes, because this is from block props and I want block attributes. So let's see, block. I don't see how this won't break. This should still be 2,000. It's still 5,000. Because I haven't edited it to this 6,400. 35. This is gonna stay at 3,500. Let's see. Slide count is 4. So none of those saved. Refresh. That's 500. Slide count is 4 because when this loads, even though I set count as 3, it does this use select and just counts the number of slides in it. So it really can't be wrong, and I really shouldn't have a switch for it, because all of this doesn't do what I think it does. It's just there. If I put 4, right? It doesn't change it. So this is 3 because there's only 3 slides in it. And here it's 4 because there's 4 slides in it. So to make it 3, I have to go in, delete one of the inner blocks, go back to the block is now 3. If I go in, add an inner block, it will go back to 4 when I go to that slider. So now that we have this displaying correctly, and we have where to get our proper attributes in our render file, I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna say block attributes, block atta, right? And then anyway, it says attributes in the next 4 lines, I'm gonna replace with block attributes. I'm gonna save that real quick. I'm gonna clear this. I'm gonna refresh and see what happens. This should be 3.5 seconds, and this should be 5 point something seconds. Good, they're staggered now. Sufficiently staggered. Anyway, that's a quick review of the slider block that I created. I liked it because it's easy and I could just insert it right in here. So I could technically just go to the home page, or open a template, right? Edit the page and just insert the slider right up there. Now I can put the slider right here underneath home. So I'll say default slide title, and then placeholder for slider them. Placeholder for slider them, update this, and now my homepage has a slider. And when I go view the page, I guess I can do it here to load the slider on above this first sentence. Boom. Right now, if I was struggling with the page title and I wanted to load a slider above the page title, what I would have to do is go to my templates, go to my default templates, and somewhere here underneath the header and before the group, or even in the group before the featured image and all that content stuff, look, I can put a slider. In fact, it's there now by default, which is not, it's quite interesting actually. I mean, all right, edit site. Oh, okay, good. Now this is the page template. This doesn't have the slider by default. It shouldn't anyway. Look, content is blank. So I could technically put it above the featured image or as the featured image, or just a loop of images in the post, right? So now I have like ways to use it in WordPress posts in a page directly, or at a higher level at the template level. Now, if I go back, I want to go to the index or landing. Let's see landing. I have this landing page template, right? It's a block template and perfect. This one does have a slider inserted into it, which is cool because now if I make my homepage a landing page, it will do something like this, right? And I should have a landing page for websites, I believe. Maybe it's just websites. All right, let's go look at my pages because I don't know where my pages are. I didn't say one thing. All right, so we'll go look at pages. Let's see. Oh, there's website services and website packages. One of them is a landing page. I don't know, maybe it's services. Okay, it's not services. So let's make website services a landing page, and we'll just switch it to the other template. I will come back and see what it does to this, right? So if I come here, it's a single service page. If I make it a landing, it changes it quite a bit. I want to use this image, but I don't have access to my slider on this level, so it will be on the template level. Anyway, I'm just gonna update this and see what happens. Excuse me. You know, to it. Gotta do it. All right. Excuse me, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I need to follow. All right, so this is unexpected. Uh, Green light. How many landing templates do I have? Just the one, right? Yep, just the one. Oh. I haven't saved the change. So let's save the change. So underneath the featured image, this thing, we should have our slider. And then we should have the featured image here. So this was supposed to be slider when I said it originally, but I'm gonna have to remove this template part and use the slider. Maybe I need, this says it's in the content. I don't want it in the content. Okay, even if it was in the content, shouldn't it show me? And then this thing of pulling posts, I don't see it here. You see what I'm saying? Post list. Something is off. See, this is the home page. I was looking for the landing. And it's doing me strong team, like my people like to say. So for some reason, I can't even edit the landing page. It's a custom template that can be applied manually to any poster page. Is it? Is it really? So if we go look at our templates and look at landing, Jumbotron, that's that big one. This is the Jumbotron, right? This full width thing. And what I want is to edit this template. That's a landing header, a Jumbotron, a 3-column layout. Madness. And then post content, which should be instruct container 1. So all this tell us what you want, slider. That's for the homepage. And the landing page keeps showing me the home page. Even if I edit, it brings me back to landing. What if I set something like search results? Will it change? It does change. So there's something wrong with my landing. There we go. Jeez. All right, cool. We have our Jumbotron, then we have our group. So what I was saying is that I can now add our custom cut slider into the template on a level that's above everything. So I'm just gonna add it underneath Jumbotron, and I'll say landing slide title 01 for the landing sliders them, right? And then we'll add another one for effect. Or how do you say good measure? Right. Replace image. Not upload. Might as well upload. Let's see. This broke my system last time I tried to upload it. It says it's updated. So let's check out our landing page. Refresh. Boom. And it's as big as the Jumbotron because it's on template level. We're taking off that whole page, but it doesn't play GIFs. That's an interesting thing. So I'm gonna go to GitHub and open an issue. That'll be our first issue for this. Right, that'll be our first issue for this. And in the meantime, I'm gonna end this review, but let's refresh this landing page just to make sure that this GIF was saved, right? Because I didn't think it was gonna save. It was a big file, so that could have been what happened. It just didn't upload, and WordPress chucked it up. It didn't send me any errors. Charged it to game. That's exactly what happened. The file was too big. WordPress didn't complain. It just charged it. How do I compress GIFs? Let's see. Was that a video? Was that a live wallpaper? It will be let me check where that was. Say replace, say upload. That's gonna take me here, and I'm just gonna go there, and then I'm gonna see how to compress GIF. File size is 18 MB. And what's it gonna get me? Yeah, let's go 100. Optimize it. Minus 67%, so it's now 6 MB. I can live with 6 MB if I'm being honest. So if I can really live with 6 MB, I should be able to upload it here. Let's save that. So with this, I might not even need a Jumbotron, to be honest. Uh, hmm. I have nothing about. I know I definitely have nothing about image types in there. So I'll go to my media library and I'll just look for that there, just to make sure it's there first before I try to replace the image with it. Nope, it's not there. So say add new media file, select file. Oh, up to 2 MB. So I'm in trouble. Let's use Anna. Okay, bye. Break. All right. Okay, bye. All right. I think we're good, guys. I think we're Gucci. Now, do you see how the images load? You see how they keep their aspect ratio? Yeah, that's all CSS. Like put background position, background size, um, and that's these settings that we added that I was saying I was gonna show you, tell you more about here in our attributes for our slider block. So center keeps it in the center, but it uses it as a background, right? Um, sorry, that's slide block.json. No repeats, make sure it's just one image, and then cover, make sure it's covers the entire, excuse me, the size of the entire div or containing element. All right, that's the end of this review for the block slider. Now we're going to go into what I wanted to go into. Let's say git status. What did I fix? Git commit, git add, no, git commit, git omit, -am, uses. What do I do in edit? I don't want to introduce breaking change. I logged something. I don't need to log that. I changed that. True. I don't need to log this. What else did I change? Excuse me. I don't need current anymore. I can I delete this? And then I can actually just simplify this, remove everything I'm not using, since I'm gonna commit anyway. I'm not using text control, and normal control is not buggy. I'm not using dispatch or use effects. Save. Render the PHP doesn't need all that space, not technically. save. So I just added this and okay. So uses block attributes in render and slider render.php. And then git push. Cool. Did I say I was gonna open something for this? I did, right? I said I was gonna open an issue. All right, compare and pull requests for the slider. Let's go to our main because we have slider and main. And what was the issue I wanted to? Man, my scatter brain. What was the issue I wanted to fix? I know it's not the upload size. That's a Docker problem. And this can be loaded in templates and in the page. And if we go to websites packages, we can see, if we go to slides, we can see this, which is fine. And if I did this, we can see that, which is also fine. I think that was the issue. The fact that it wasn't recording, wasn't keeping score. Anyway, now we'll fix that. That's fine. I'm just gonna close this. No, actually, I'm gonna go to this for the site info. All right, cool. This is the next step. I'm gonna have to remove some of this. Like this readme is weird. And it's outdated anyways. Like I've moved away from understrap in this thing. No, I have not. That's something else we can do. Anyway, stream marker